Club with your midday market update for Thursday, the 22nd of March. You know, gold is getting closer to our Fibonacci target that we outlined some time ago, and it's down today on just general liquidation. China once again shakes the world markets with the fifth straight month. The China factory activity shrank, and it's casting a sort of pall over the global markets today. Crude oil tumbles on the China news. We'll be looking at crude oil again, but here we have some market moving sectors. A lot of markets are just sort of flat to lower today. The outstanding one, I'd have to say, is probably healthcare, and also, well, that's probably about it. Healthcare and services, that's the only two we see on the plus side in any meaningful fashion. Also, we have three stocks on the move today: Western Digital, CORP, WDC, Watson Pharmaceuticals, WPI, and Discovery Financial Services. We're looking at all those markets today using our trade triangle technology. But let's go to our portfolio. But first, you may want to check this out. Our personal one-on-one Market Club coaching has been very successful. You can give us a call at 877-219-1482. The call is free and the consultation is free. Just see if it's right for you. It could be a great thing for you in 2012. We have some great markets, great opportunities, and we want you to see that you get the best out of all of those things. So let's go to the portfolios and my portfolio manager. And we'll start off as usual with the S&P 500. Now the S&P 500 slipped to a plus 75. That was 100 yesterday. And here's the reason why. We've had a move. I'll scope this in even closer for you so you can get an idea. But we've really had a move that's been straight up, really from the 1340 level without any kind of pullback. Now, it's normal to have a pullback in any kind of bull market. This was a normal pullback. It was a three-day pullback, much like we're seeing today. And then the market will once again resume because we still think this market's going to go much higher. Plus our trade triangles. If you remember, we talked about our trade triangles, and we always want to look at the two dominant trade triangles in this whole equation is this one right here, and that's the monthly, and this one right here, and that's the weekly. Now, providing they are both green like they are now, then the trend is still very much to the upside. So let's clear the screen, go to our next market, and we're going to be looking at the next market we're going to be looking at is going to be the Dow, and that's had much the same pattern there. We could put our Fibonacci retracement levels in, and there we go. So we got very close to a 50% pullback in the Dow. 1317 was the target. We got right down to 13,017. So we hit the 50% pullback. So I think for the most part, this may be the pullback we've been waiting for in the Dow to be looking to add to positions. So I'll be a buyer. Plus 75 means we're in an emerging market. Plus you have your monthly and your weekly still green. So the trend is your friend, and the trend continues to be up on this market. It is, after all, Thursday, and tomorrow is Friday. We may see we may see a bounce in this market tomorrow. But this is the first pullback we've seen since moving up from the 12,739 level straight up to almost 14,000. So let's go to our 13,294. Let's go to our next market, and the next market we're looking at is going to be the NASDAQ composite. Now, totally different picture here. We have a plus 100, so people are favoring the NASDAQ much more than the Dow or the S&P 500. So again, it's had a phenomenal move, and if you look at the extended chart on this, you can see we've got a big base under this market. So it looks as though to us it wants to go high, and you can see we're long from 2,753. Got almost 500 points in this. 300 points in this market right now. So I think we're in good shape. And let's see, just scope it into a little bit further. And you can see where we're going to close. We closed last Friday. We closed at the, looks like 3,054. We're actually higher for the week in this index, so that's a good sign. So I think the other two indexes will just get, that's a pullback, natural pullback in a bull market. So let's go to look at silver. Silver's under pressure today. We were looking for silver to be under pressure. If you remember, we looked at our Fibonacci number on silver, and we're looking for a move down to I believe at the 3040 level. I think we wrote in our blog today. And 3040 is exactly what it is, and we got down to 3107. So I still think there's some pressure in this market on the downside. If we scope this out just a little bit further, you'll get an idea. So what we're looking at right now with our Fibonacci tool, and when you click on this, you'll see the little yellow box appear here. It means it's live. So go from the highs to the lows. And you can see the 30, 46, 30, 40, somewhere around that level. This will be a 61.8% Fibonacci retracement and probably will be enough for the time being. We were looking for this market to make its lows at or near the end of the month. So that's kind of a more important element cyclically in our minds. But again, our trade triangles, the monthly is longer term bullish, intermediate term, and short term bearish. So let's go to our next market. The next market is going to be gold. In gold, it's getting very close to where we expected it to move. We've been bearish on this market, as you well know. All of our monthly trade triangles are bearish. And we're looking for this market to trade down to the 1620, 1617 level, which again, that's going to be another Fibonacci number if we go from the highs here all the way down here. So 1618, 1620, somewhere at that. That's going to be a very important level to watch. And what I'd like to see happen here is for this market, and you don't always get what you want in trading, but what we'd like to see in an ideal scenario would be if the market were to just trade down to this level and sort of regroup and then start moving higher. Then we'd have a good idea that the cycle that we're looking at, which means the cycle low is here, here, and we believe it's going to be here at the end of the month, is right on target. So let's see how that plays out. But generally speaking, the trend is down. The gold is down for the week, and that's what you should be looking at right now. Now let's go to our next market, and the next market we're going to be looking at is going to be crude oil. And you can see crude oil is taking a little bit of a dive today. It's trading below the 105 level. Nonetheless, we still think this market can go higher, and we believe we're at or close to a cyclic low period. And if you look at this, and we'll get a little closer in, there's two periods we're looking at, and I'll show you both of them. The one period is right here and here, and we think around here. So we still think that's going to be an important low, and we'll see this market still go higher. And the other low that we're looking at, the other period we're looking at, and I'll scope this in a little bit closer so you'll see that picture. And it's easy to do with MarketClub. You just simply click here. So what we're looking at here is basically, if you look at crude oil, you have a low every 7 or 8 days, right here, 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 and we believe this is going to be a low period as well. If that's right, then we'll see this market improve. We still think the longer-term picture is positive for this market. And by longer-term picture, I mean over the last several months, not the last several days, but the last several months. And if we scope this out, you'll get that picture. And you can see our monthly trade triangle came in here at 99.36. And you can see the big picture. Let's just do a simple line chart. We'll take out a monthly chart. And you can see if we just put in our trend lines, which is very easy to do, just we'll draw from this period here through here. So we may see possibly a little more pullback, but nonetheless, it looks as though this market is actually still regrouping to go higher. So again, I think you've had the move, you've had the breakout, which occurred here. This is the breakout right here, this spot right here. And I think this sort of movement we're seeing here is just sort of regrouping over the 104 level. And I think we'll see this market eventually come out to the upside. Not sure what's going to drive it there, but generally speaking, the trend certainly, if one looks at this longer term, is certainly on the upside. So let's clear the screen and go to our next market. And that's going to be, hold on. So our next market is going to be copper. Copper tends to reflect the economy of what's going on. And again, you have this sort of cyclic period, very similar to what I showed you before. I'll scope this in our trade triangles. Longer term monthly is positive, intermediate and short term negative. But if you look at the simple sort of rhythm of this market, is you have a low here, a low here, a low here. I'm not sure what happened changing the color, but let's see if we can get this back to, there we go. So we have a low here, a low here, a low here, and a low here. So it looks like to me we're getting very close to a cyclic low period. And if we take everything off the screen and go to our down to our where we are, we're getting very oversold. Very similar to where we were. You can see if you just draw up from these levels here to here, you see how close they are to the lows. So we may be a little bit premature, but maybe the next couple of days, next week, we'll see this market regroup and bounce back up. So let's go to our next market, and the next market is going to be the Eurodollar. And the Eurodollar, again, is not out of the woods yet. It really has to go over 133, in our opinion, to get really kind of super good on the upside. minus 90, strong downtrend, monthly, weekly, and daily, all negative. It looks as though this market wants to go lower. It hasn't got into a really super oversold condition yet, and I think that's the key thing to look at. The trend is your friend, and the trend continues to be down. And you can see from our monthly, we've been short this market for a long time, 139.69. And if I scope this out, you'll get an idea of where that is. It's back way, way back here. And that took about July 11th, 2011. So quite some time ago, we had a major signal to get short the euro versus the dollar. So let's go to our next market. And this is the dollar index, much the same there, same pattern. It's just plus 90, going higher. And the next market we're looking at, excuse me, is the CRB Index. Now, this is kind of interesting because we didn't expect the CRB Index to do what it's doing. And if you look at this market right now, all you're seeing, let me scope this in just a little bit for you. And what we're seeing now, we've been looking at this picture for some time, is you have this sort of flat top here. Didn't quite break out convincingly. So you've got, this is definitely a resistance. And you've got really support here. So let's say this is support. And in the midpoint, kind of right around here, I would say right around here, the 310 level is kind of like a mini support. So I would expect you're going to see the market hold around those levels, these levels around 310, 312. Little surprise, it went through the 314, 315 area, but nonetheless, it seems to me that we've been going sideways since October of last year, and we really haven't got a strong trend either on the upside here or the downside. So let's see how that plays out from here. So let's clear the screen, and let's go to our next market. The next market we're looking at is going to be a stock. Western Digital is on the move today, a nice big move. It's up over 5%, 5.5%. The question is, did we catch this move with the trade triangles? Yes, of course we did. Here's the signal right here at 30.43. Market's trading at 41, so it's about $11 profit. And I think it's a really good signal and how our system works in terms of catching these moves. That was on December 2nd, 30.43, confirmed here. You can see there's the numbers right there. 30.43, and you had this nice move up. Now, the last signal we had on the weekly was 40.92. Now, remember, we use the monthly for trending. If you're a long-term trader, just use the monthlies. If you're an intermediate-term trader, use the weekly. Now, if I put our weekly in, you can see we had a signal just today at 3:22. That's today, March 22nd at 40.92. The market's currently trading at 41.62. And you could have bought this all day because it opened at 39.05. So you definitely would have gotten filled at that period we talked about. So let's go to our next market. And the next market we're looking at is Watson Pharmaceutical. And again, a couple of things here which are so interesting with the trade triangles. This is a great example of the trade triangles. You can see the weekly kicked in yesterday at 60.29, and the monthly kicked in today at 64.88. So again, the market's trading at 66. The market has made a turn, but you're not going to miss the markets with our trade triangles. You definitely will not miss a big move if you follow them closely. And that's a good example with Watson Pharmaceuticals symbol WPI traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So let's go to our next market, and this is Discover Financial Services. And you can see this market had a really nice move today, but it really didn't start today. It started back here. This is on the 12th of January. And this is the key thing. We have our weeklies in there already, so we have not had a signal to get out of this since we got a signal to buy at 25.95, and we're currently trading at 32.95. So a $7 profit, which I think is really a very, very nice profit. It's over about 25%, actually about 28%. Profit in this market, and it looks as if it closes up here. This will be a new high close. If we just simply take our close only chart, boom, there it is, a new high close, and that's going to look awfully good. So again, it's all about catching the moves, and this is a big, big, big move in this stock. So it looks like it wants to go higher, and it's sort of bucking the trend in the financials, which are down. The sector is down today, but this is doing very, very well. So let's go back to our markets. Well, that sort of covers all the stocks we wanted to cover today. But again, if you'd like to get one-on-one coaching, on how to catch these moves with Market Club's Trade Triangle, just give us a free call, and the free consultation is yours just for making the call. 877-219-1482. This is Adam Hewison for Market Club. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Let's see if we can get some markets going here. Let's see how the crude oil holds up, and let's see how the gold works. Adam Hewison for Market Club. Have a great trading day.